Hello and welcome to you all from PdZ. Thank you for joining us tonight here in person. And also I would like to say hello and warm welcome to all the people who are watching us online. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to the program of possibilities for regenerative tourism, which is part of the ConnAct project. There you will see a big logo. Of course, we have to put it. And ConnAct project is part of the Serve&Tay project. It is co-funded by EU, and we are partners. We are consisting of 6 consortium partners. As you can see, we have IAB from Berlin. We have Bergamo. We have help me. Piraeus, municipality of Piraeus. Then we have the municipality of Fundão. And AMO and PdZ, of course. Can you give a round of applause? Thank you so much. And we have, of course, our special guest sitting here next to me. Before I go a bit dive into the program and what we're going to discuss tonight together, first I would like to name them. And I would like you to also welcome them with again, a warm round of applause. Oh yeah, I have to also introduce myself. My name is Faiza. Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Faiza. I work as program maker at PdZ, and tonight I'm also moderating this program, for which I'm super excited. So I'm going to start from here with Lara, who is sitting next to me, and I have written down all the correct pronunciations. So Lara Viane, she is the social entrepreneur and project leader at Brood Hotel. Later we will hear more from her. Then we have Thijs Koster, and he is, of course, the policy advisor of tourism, hospitality, and visitor economy at the Gemeente Amsterdam, or the municipality of Amsterdam. Next to him is sitting Anoushka Trashkau, and she is the program manager Sprang Gastvrij Transitie. Look at me, my pronunciation is Dutch, in Holland University of Applied Science. And last but not least, we have Roos Geritsma. She is the lab lead of Urban and Leisure Tourism Lab. All these words that you heard are not going to stay buzzwords. By the end of the evening, you will hear a lot more about all these experts. And later, we will have students' presentation, but we will also have Jimena, who later I'm going to introduce. And we are going to do a guided meditation together. So we have no time to lose, but before I'll start, I would also like to mention that we would really like to give the floor to you as well, not only for your questions, but also if you would like to just add comments, remarks. For that, we will open the floor to you. You can raise your hand, either myself or my colleague, we will come to you. If not, and if you're watching us from home, you can go to menti.com and insert the code, which is going to be popping up here in a minute. 1812, we will have the slide, 18127049. I'm going to repeat it, 18127049. Then I will receive your question here in my iPad. Are we ready? Yeah? Okay, before this session, we had a hackathon organized also by some of our partners, of course, in Holland University, Hogeschool in Holland Hogeschool, and also Gemeente Amsterdam that I mentioned are our partners. So the hackathon was organized by them, and then we had this presentation by this expert telling us how to be at the prison. So I'm stealing her ideas just right away, and I would like to ask you just to stand up, just to shake your body a little bit, just for 5 seconds. Let's do that together. Yeah? I know that I'm messing up with the cameras. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. Thanks. Yeah, no. I'm super prison. Great. Thank you. I should have not do that because of the cameras, but I just wanted everyone to be present. Yeah, perfect. Then I would like to start with Roos. Can you tell us first the story behind Urban and Leisure Tourism Lab? And can you tell us what do we mean by regenerative tourism? Let's find a shared understanding together.
And I have 1 minute, right? Yes, so thank you, Vaza, for this question. And behind me, you see all kind of pictures, photos from the Urban Leisure and Tourism Lab from the last years. So back in, let's say, 2014, it was founded in 2015, 10 years ago. All of a sudden, I heard about field labs, living labs, all kind of studios, like, wow, what's happening all around in the Netherlands and beyond. And I have a background in urban sociology, so I was used and trained to be in the city. That's where it's happening, and looking at social spatial changes. So we combined several ingredients, and we thought, let's do it too for in Holland about leisure and tourism. And let's not start right in the inner city, because that's part of the lab, and also about regenerative tourism. It's about the not knowing. We didn't know exactly what and how we were going to do that, but we knew we had to do things differently. So we combined research, education, and real life setting in one. That's the Living Lab. And it's all about place-based education and research. So we take our students, our colleagues, our researchers out of the classroom into the place where we actually are collaborating and co-designing, which is part of regenerative tourism. But I think in the second round, I will have a bit more time to explain what we mean by regenerative tourism, because it's quite a large and encompassing field, which is becoming more and more popular, either in regenerative education, agriculture, but also tourism worldwide. So I don't know if I have to stop now.
No, I mean, wherever you prefer you stop, that's
still
totally
have
fine.
some,
But of course, later we will take a deeper dive. For now, it was,
I will look to the slides, and I know when it's going to be finished. So these kind of slides that you just saw about this graphics and visualization is of the regenerative, really regenerative center of the UK, and they're really leading in place-based regeneration. And it's one of the places where I did my own training, same as our colleague Professor Cocoon. So we are both trained and carried out a learning journey at this institute. And this is an example you see where we are. It's really when students come in the place where we work in Amsterdam North, it's really funny because 99% of our students come from outside of Amsterdam North, but there's always one or two that are either born or raised or have family over there. So it's really a nice mix. So we have to start with exploring this whole area. And we're using all kinds of methods by doing so. And this image, for instance, is made by our colleague Esther Bouw. And it's a visualization of us being almost like urban gardeners. Because we have to fertilize the soil first. And I will come back to that later in the other slides.
Sure. This maybe sorry to interrupt, a very quick question. Why did you choose Amsterdam Noord? What was the idea behind it?
Yeah, for various reasons. But first of all, we didn't want to start really 2014 is one of the milestones when you look to tourism in Amsterdam. It was so many years, Rembrandtjaar, opening, and we had this huge article in the newspaper saying something like tourism tsunami, something like that. So I thought, oh, let's not start there. We're too, we first have to make our own story, and then. In Holland, we invited one of the main city developers, and he said, look at Amsterdam North. I was just opened, and DSM was becoming more and more popular for events. And so we thought, maybe we should go there. And I'm also a resident of Amsterdam North. And I remember very, very well when I saw the first yellow bike in Amsterdam North, which is a sign of what is going to come next. So that was one of the reasons. And we always said, that's my last sentence, Amsterdam North is our place where we begin, but it's not necessarily the place where we end. And I think Anushka will explain that we are going much far more beyond Amsterdam North.
Yeah, great. Thank you. You already asked a question that I wanted to give the floor to Anushka for, to, of course, introduce yourself. Tell us a bit more about the project that you're working on and the lab, your role, the kind of activities you're organizing.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for inviting me. Very exciting to be talking about this ambitious Sprong project that is about the transition of tourism. So I work specifically at In Holland on this project, focused with the whole team on the possibilities of regenerative tourism. Yeah, and it sounds very complex, which is also why I wanted to show a little bit what regenerative tourism looks like, yeah, in practice, or looks like to me. So you will see a lot of pictures, examples of, yeah, beautiful stories, beautiful initiatives that I've come across in, yeah, I would say the last many, many years. So my journey for myself actually started in development work, which is also how, yeah, in communities in Central America, I came in contact with the power of tourism. Basically from supporting local businesses to knowledge exchange, really in the pure form. So this is also why I decided to start working in the tourism industry of Amsterdam, being very passionate about this topic. But then working in Amsterdam in a time where the city was expanding and where everything was growing, the visitors, the residents. And at one point residents also started to complain, which for me as a local person, but also as someone working in the industry, was really raising the question like, do I want to be part of the problem or do I want to become part of the solution? Well, it sounds then like an easy choice, but of course, how do you do that? So for me, coming from a background of tours, it was really to investigate how tours could be a positive tool for change, making it a bit of a research project. And in the end, it became a company, Tours That Matter, where we are still every day finding out how this could work, because like Rose said, this is a very much ongoing journey. And it was actually Rose that I think quite some years ago told me like, yeah, but what you guys are doing has some of the principles of regeneration in it. It's very place-based. It's very focused around the local community. It's very, questioning and an ongoing process of finding out how we can do this together. So the work at the lab and the work at In Holland really resonated with how I was seeing things. So for me, it's very exciting right now to have a role at In Holland where I can kind of combine education and entrepreneurship and basically work on the reinvention of tourism together with the pioneers, but also together with policymakers and everyone, because I think this is the main thing that's necessary if we really want to make a change in terms of that. So for the past months, I've only been really finding out what is existing, because I'm like Roos said, expanding a little bit from my very safe Amsterdam Noord to the rest of Amsterdam that we already did with the Reinvent Tourism Network, to now being focused on the whole metropolitan region. So you also see windmills or mills passing by, farms, because of course there's many people in the metropolitan region that don't relate to this very urban center where we are now. But I do like it that when I got to know the regenerative experiences and pioneers over the past month, I see that what drives them all is that they have a really pure, like they work from here. So it's a love and it's a care for the place. And it's also a thing to keep working on the future of this industry by taking care of the places that we want to keep on visiting. So this was really, besides today that we're going to speak about more the practical elements, I think this is something that I saw unites everybody that wants to do something with regeneration.
Perfect. Thank you. That was super helpful to get to know what you're going to elaborate a bit more. Maybe it's nice to ask the question of, do we have any Northerner in the room? Yeah, just one? Just Esther? Okay. So, okay. And of course, Rose too. Okay, so good. I was just thinking maybe it's also nice to give a bit of context info, background info of Amsterdam Noord. Maybe we'll do it later because the idea is going to come back throughout the conversation a couple of times. But for now, let's move to Thijs, who is, as Anushka said, policy advisor, and he is working as the policy advisor at the municipality of Amsterdam at the tourism department. What are you exactly advising them? But no, seriously, if you can also tell us a bit more of the approach that the city of Amsterdam is taking towards tourism, if you can also elaborate a bit on the vision on tourism. But
a lot to cover. So hi, Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us and thank you for having us. So yes, my name is Thijs, Policy Advisor for the City of Amsterdam on Visitors Economy. And over the last 10, 15 years, welcome, 10, 15 years, I've been involved from a entrepreneurial role in hospitality and sustainability as a previous restaurant owner and highly involved into the sustainability of restaurants. I got the chance at some point to move towards policy making and to create and at least think about the tourism industry and how to create a more sustainable tourism industry in Amsterdam. And this is how I got to my role as a policy advisor for the city of Amsterdam. And like Roos was referring to this 2014 year where there was the first moment the city of Amsterdam had sort of experienced a ginormous growth in tourism after years and years and years, decades of creating attraction after attraction, hotel after hotel, and the idea is, and that was not just in the Netherlands, that was for the entire continent of Europe, if you want, to attract people, because tourism was a huge economic benefit, basically. And until 2014, then in 2016, this new idea started to materialize where we said, it's becoming too much. And and in this case, they is the city of Amsterdam, created a program called City in Balance. This was actually the very first time where the city of Amsterdam took the approach and said, okay, yes, we understand the economic benefits, but to what level and to what extent, and where do we sort of create the threshold and the boundaries? That went on for a few years with different types of policies and different types of mitigating and sort of controlling tools. Then COVID hit. And COVID hit, obviously, hit us all, but also the tourism industry. But it also gave the moment where residents in Amsterdam said, look at this damn square. Look at these canals. Look at the Newmarkt. Look at the stunning 9 Streets district. And suddenly, people realized and said, wait a minute, we want to have our city like this every day. Obviously, knowing that this is not feasible, as an attractive city as Amsterdam is, but this was the main idea. And then this group of residents came up with, and it said, Amsterdam heeft een keuze, and this is freely translated, and Amsterdam has a choice. And they basically collected literally 30,000 signatures and went to the city council and said, dear city council, we want stricter regulations on incoming tourists, incoming visitors. Namely, and if I remember correct, this was around 10 million. Absolutely impossible for the city of Amsterdam, but because there were 30,000 signatures, it got on the agenda of the council. And during COVID, it became a big topic, and it was then later adopted with all different rules and regulations, but first and foremost with a cap of 20 million overnight visitors per year. This was actually the very first time that a city in the world took on a residents' initiative, a citizens' initiative, to create tourism policy. No other city had done that. And till today, we are following the principles that we wrote down in what we call the Vision Visitors Economy 2035, where we have a, where we have a long set and list of measures. We're about 39, 38 currently. We are about to publish, beginning of next year, our next program of all the different policies and measures that we're trying to, or that we want to implement and that we will implement. But so this is an ongoing trajectory of tourism policy in Amsterdam. But so what I think is important is that we also understand where we come from, and that we come from an entirely different perspective where we saw tourism as a real big economic force, basically, that we
I guess
really needed.
that's such a great spot to stop here to have this. First of all, it's online accessible, right?
Yes,
Everyone can
absolutely.
just
All
download the
all
whole.
the policies, everything that
Exactly.
we do as it should be in
Yeah.
in a democracy, is available
Yeah, true.
for
Great.
everybody to view.
I guess later we will go deeper in the kinds of policies that the city of Amsterdam is working on, and delving into the vision for 2035 Amsterdam. Thank you. For now, I would like to give the floor to Lara Viana, who is the project manager at Buurt Hotel. Buurt Hotel means neighborhood hotel, let's say in English. And what's the story behind it? What is it exactly, and what are you exactly doing?
Yeah, well, thank you. In line with all of your stories, Buurt Hotel is a pretty new initiative. It's a social initiative, and we started up in March. So actually, the conversation started a bit sooner, the end of last year, where a lot of tourists or a lot of locals saw that, oh, but the tourists, they're getting too much. So your story gets way more sooner. But for us, it was the perspective that locals had on hotels. So the hotels are the blame for the tourists that are coming and are not really giving anything back. But what we heard from hotels, and I speak from DDoC on. DDoC is an Amsterdam-based design studio. So they design hotels, but they also try and look into how hotels or other buildings can help connect people. So they work together with a lot of hotels, and they say, well, actually, the hotels are really open for locals, but they don't really know them, and they don't really know how they can help out locals and what they really need. So this is where we stepped in, and how Buurt Hotel is created. So Buurt Hotel connects locals with hotels in Amsterdam, and we do that through our platform and through our support. So platform, if you go to buurthotel.nl, you see that a lot of hotels in Amsterdam, and we have 70 hotels that applied for it, and 45 on the platform that are opening up for local residents. And they do that via 3 teams. So we have 3 teams. One is food and beverages, another one is activities, and the last one is overnight stays. So they give a discount, they organize activities for the neighbors so a discount on the menu, discount on overnight stays for friends and family, to really show that, okay, but if tourists are coming here, you can profit from them as well. And you can use our facilities. So hotels are in Amsterdam, they are in your neighborhood, but you can use them a lot better. And it started through tourism, but actually what we think is most valuable is that a hotel has a certain place in a neighborhood, and it can create a value that is not really captured yet. So
Can we have some of the photos? Because I know that you shared a lot
Yeah.
of photos of different activities.
yeah, maybe that will
but-
help to
Yeah.
explain. Yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, okay. Now you see some examples. So a lot of hotels are already doing it. This is a Vaderdag, Father's Day event in Hotel Arena in Amsterdam East. So I lost a bit of the track I was going to, but what I want to say actually is a hotel can capture the value. So we are also looking into social cohesion of a city, of a neighborhood, how safe a neighborhood is, and a hotel is just there. So you can just walk in, feel safe a little bit, and go out again, or just talk to someone and don't feel lonely anymore, or go there with your neighbor. So we're really supporting the hotels to become a neighborhood hotel and to get to know their neighbors.
So it's fair to say that hotels are not going to be places that just tourists come and go, but they're going to be places where the residents have the opportunity to also spend some time, be part of some activities, maybe interact with some other people. That's great. Yeah. Okay. So thank you to all our speakers. I guess Anushka had to leave, but it's all good because we're going to continue first part with a cool activity led by Jimena, as I promised. Jimena Diamant, can we give her a round of applause? Perfect. So for the next 5 minutes, let us be and go with the flow of. I'm also not knowing what's going on, so we're going to be surprised.
Super, thank you. Hi, everybody. So regenerative tourism and regenerative thinking is also about changing your mindset and your inner worlds. So what I want to do with you all now is to practice this primordial aspect of regenerative thinking, working on the relationships with ourselves, our inner worlds, and our embodied experience here in place. Understanding how we are connected with each other and also to the natural world. So we're going to focus a bit on the emotional and physical aspects of our being here, just to say a bit to practice what we preach and what you will hear in the next moment. So I will invite you all to close your eyes now, or lower your gaze if you don't want to close your eyes.
People who are watching online should also do that.
Exactly, thank you. And join me in a few minutes of quiet contemplation. So sit comfortably, place your feet on the floor, let your back be supported by the chair, and let's all together take a deep, calming breath. So inhale through the nose, and exhale through your mouth. And let each exhalation soften your body. Let's go again. Inhale, exhale. Feel free now to return to your natural breath and start bringing your attention into your body. How does your body feel right now? Are you still rushing from your full day of work or activities, or do you already feel settled here? Just sense where you are without needing to change anything. We just heard something from our 4 panelists, and maybe something they said made you feel curious or stirred some interest within you. I want you to focus on what resonated. Perhaps it's even connected to the reason that it brought you here tonight. Can you feel the resonance somewhere in your body? Try to locate that feeling wherever it is and just sit with it. And as you hold that feeling, begin to sense the whole of your body in this space. Your body that is sitting in these chairs, in this room at Pakhuis de Zwijger, in this city, Amsterdam. And we are all sharing this space, but not only with each other. There are also microscopic beings around us, microscopic beings in our bodies. There are also small critters around making this space their home. There's the air itself and all the materials that hold this building together. See if you can gently stretch now your awareness to include the people in the room, the tiny beings, and the materials themselves. Our being in this space is deeply intertwined with a non-human world, and we are all connected. While holding the sense of connection, let's just now take one final deep breath together. Inhale and exhale. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Stretch a little bit if you'd like, you feel like it. And I invite you now to be fully present with yourselves and with one another, but also with all the beings and non-beings that are in this room. So thank you for this little moment of experimentation. I hope this kind of brings you a new mindset for the rest of the conversations and maybe also beyond now.
Sure, thank you so much. It's great. I guess I'm super lucky that I'm experiencing 2 different cool activities in one day. In both of them, people who are leading the sessions are doing these kind of mindfulness practices. It means it's getting bigger and bigger. Getting back to what we already discussed with our 4 panelists and maybe go a bit deeper, I would like to first start with you, Rose. Maybe it can start with a question of what do we mean by regenerative model that says our mindset has to shift from only reducing harm to maximizing the benefit. And what does it mean in the context of tourism? And I know that you have a lot of examples and models to walk us through.
Yeah, so I brought 2 slides. And this is the first one. So, like I was mentioning before, regenerative tourism is quite large concept. But one of the main principles is to look at nature. What would nature do? We call it the living systems. So if you look at the picture right at the bottom, these are seedlings. And on the top left, it's an oak. And an oak can become 500 years. So the question is, what kind of conditions are fruitful to grow in a good way? And another thing, and I think I will use it right away, because Laura was talking about the hotel. So imagine the oak is like a hotel. And do you know what an oak is doing all day long? Do you have any idea? It's pumping up water. And you know what's happening after a few hours when it has enough water? It doesn't say, it's mine, it's for me to keep. No, it says, hey, do you want, exactly. So there's a reciprocity in nature by design. And you also mentioned a hotel is safe, same as this kind of tree for all kinds of animals, or they sit below. Underneath the ground, not only trees, but also fungi and all kind of other plants, they collaborate. So when, before we go to the next slide, what we try to do, as it is such a rich story about regenerative tourism, is to, we try to visualize it by a designer. And you will see it has a lot of words and images on it. And we will share the image afterwards because it has a lot of details. I will start with it and Anushka will continue. So this is a mix of an urban kind of landscape, place-based, because that's really, the oak tree lives there, not there. So it's place-based. And you see the oak tree is designed also at the right side. And one of the core things that we're aiming for when we talk about regenerative tourism is restoring culture, community and nature. So it's indeed not only being extractive, only taking, only for economic reasons, no, also to give back and if possible, even more than you take. So what you also see in this tree, it's the little girl who's sitting on one of the branches, and you could replace it for us with the Living Lab. And she is practicing the art of questioning, because it's not easy to have a answer, but we are constantly questioning how can we improve it. Like for an Amsterdam Noord, it's one of the appointed new city districts of Amsterdam. How are we going to design this future together? And what role does tourism and leisure can play in that transition, because it's facing a huge transition. So what we see in the middle is Place Proud. I don't know if you can read it, but it says Place Proud and it has a rainbow. It's referring to one of the core characteristics of Amsterdam, as being known for its tolerance. But it's also about create community. It's about long-term thinking and ownership, for instance. So it's a total different approach that we are now in this local city district. And before we would say, hey, we come here with 50 students, we take all of your ideas or context, we give you an advisory report you will never ever read again, bye, see you next year. So what we do now, since 10 years, we say, hey, we're here to stay. We want to get to know you. We stay here for 3 to 5 years. So now it's already 10 years that we are in the same city districts. So when we talk about creating non-extractive conditions, it's all about building trusts. It's about long-term commitments. And also, not like the oak tree doesn't say it's mine, but we're searching for collaborative ownership, like the video that is turning in the lobby.
Yeah.
That was last Thursday night. So thank you, Jeroen and colleagues who were able to make this video so fast. But that's really encompassing all these criteria, principles and approaches. It's an approach. It's impossible to give one definition.
True.
It's more indeed starting with this mindset, like you were adding to us.
Thanks. It's a different set of values and principles, as you said, that rather than, like in the example of tourism, rather than tourists coming to the city, taking something from the city and then leaving the city, it's more like what can be given back to the city and its residents. And it's not just...
Yeah, but it can start with a meaningful exchange to really listen to people. So, for instance, our students created a story bench. You can sit on it and you can listen to the local stories. So that's a very tiny example of paying attention, of giving back in that sense.
True.
And so diversity, for instance, is also something that we know from nature, it works. Monoculture, monocrops, it's dying. So we need this rich diversity in every possible sense.
Sure. Thanks. As you mentioned, I know that Anushka would also like to add something to the visualization that we are seeing now. But I'm going also ask my question, which is like, what does a real regenerative tourism experience look like?
Yeah, it's a question that have been now on my mind for months, and I think it's going to be on my mind for years because it definitely doesn't have an easy answer. Yeah, maybe you can go back to the drawing also to continue first a little bit on the drawing, which is amazing because I think actually Roos and I were struggling, like, how do you make a PowerPoint presentation of something that is such a complex but also very personal topic, no? So we actually gave everything that we thought of to an artist to make a drawing. So I think it's very impressive also to have this, but I think it's also necessary because if I ask people, do you know regenerative experiences? Many people are like, meh, no idea, difficult to say. Also difficult to say yes or no. But when I show, for example, all the pictures that you've also seen when I did my introduction, everybody has been there. Everybody has seen food forests, campsites, many different things. No? So it's very necessary to have practical examples, and I don't want to call it practical examples of something is a regenerative experience or it's not, but we do see a lot of elements that come back. And I also couldn't make it a checklist because every time that I think of these elements and I think I have them all, I come across another initiative that does it in a different way. So it will be a list that can never end, no? But basically in this drawing, I think you see a meal, the break that I came along that is, it's a museum, it's a visitor center, but it's also a place that hosts all the community events that you can possibly imagine. So it's a very place where community comes together, no? Then I think we have, what Roos said, the red light district also, but here they're working with the values of Amsterdam. So there's an initiative that is the pledge that we can see here where hotels, visitor centers, everybody commits to communicating and showing the values of Amsterdam and having visitors also to commit to them. For the rest, we have the Keuvel, where visitors are invited to also contribute to biodiversity, restoring nature, which is also something that, we see in a lot of different forms, but it's definitely something very important in regeneration. We have the marine terrain here in Amsterdam, which is a great place to go for a swim and a beer, but it's also a place that educates you and creates awareness about innovation and also about history. So I think, to show here with this drawing that all these different elements that we've tried to categorize a little bit, that is about business models, that is about restoring nature, about creating community, but that they can be so many different ways that you can create experiences about this. And maybe going to the next slide, that I do think if there is one thing that they all do is coming back to this place-based, no? So it's changing the whole way of how we design experiences, which has always been looking at the guest. So basically thinking like, what would a guest want? What would a guest in Amsterdam be searching for? What would make them happy? But we're changing this completely around and we're looking at what are the needs of the place? What are the needs of the local community, of the nature? And we design the experiences around that. And it's still very superficial because I still get, like, basically with Tours That Matter all the time the answer like, oh, amazing that you do tours in other parts of the city. It's like, yeah, great, but this is not the impact. Like the impact of the society is actually that you're working in these neighborhoods because you're strengthening the ecosystem of all the local initiatives. So basically you're working on the empowerment, you're working on telling different stories so you can change the narrative, and you're working on, and I love this picture because it's not about like giving people souvenirs when they travel, it's about giving them actually practical tools and things that they can use to create change in the places where they are from and the places that they will be going to.
Yeah, which is like a very good moment because, of course, as I mentioned at the beginning, ConnAct is a project of different cities that are like EU networks of cities. And also, of course, with bringing the example of Amsterdam, by no means we're trying to say this is how it should be done, right? So we're just bringing some examples. Later we will hear some presentations and stories by students in Holland, one of which was the story bench that Rose just mentioned. And it's more like to understand that how they can be applied in a different context. Of course, always context matters, but more like this is how Amsterdam is doing, which brings me, thank you, Anushka, to the next question to Thijs, of course, representing the municipality here. My question to you is simply how can the municipality, Gemeente Amsterdam, support the transition toward regenerative tourism in the sense that we will not stay at a theoretical level, but it will be applied in practice?
Easy.
Is it? How?
Easy. Just by doing it. No. No, I think, and I come back to this a train of thought often. Regenerative tourism and regeneration is not a net zero game. Regeneration means that not only are you taking something and not only are you putting back what you took, but you're also creating something to thrive afterwards. So you're also adding. And if, just to answer your question specifically, we have quite a few steps to take in general, right? In general, in our lifestyles, in general, in purchases that we make. Before we get to regeneration, we need to first get to some sort of agreed and level playing field, and that we call today sustainability. Regeneration ultimately is an ultimate level or a next level of sustainability. Currently, when we look at the way we consume, when we look at the way we produce, when we look at the way we, I don't know, move in terms of our mobility, there are so many different factors where we're not even close to a sustainable way of consumption, if we stick to consumption and see tourism as consumption. So one of the things that I would always say or try to aim for is achievable. What can we achieve today? What can we do today so that we can, and it's a bit cheap, but to feel proud of ourselves? Because the issue is, one of the issues is with regeneration is that you can never win. Until that moment where you've achieved this supersonic state of not only taking and not only getting it back to the way that you took it, but to actually create something new. That's tough. That's really, really tough. When we look at other ways of consumption, we don't do that. So my first thing is, let's get to a phase now, and that has nothing to do with whether I believe in regenerative tourism, because I believe in regeneration. But when it comes to a city as a whole, or a general idea of tourism, there's other steps that we need to take first in order to only get to the phase of regeneration. General consumption, where do we eat in restaurants? What do we eat? What do we order? Where do we stay? What ways of mobility did we use firstly to get to that destination? And when we are at that destination, how do we go about our ways when we are in the city? These are much more tangible, easy to sort of understand smaller steps that we can do today. And the city of Amsterdam, now I'll get all the way back to your initial question, but the city is there to facilitate these types of ideas and these types of initiatives. And I'm actually proud, for example, an initiative like Laura's Buurthotel, that we were one of the stakeholders that said, yes, this is an idea that we can really is tangible, is achievable, is something that we can do, is something that has immediate profit to residents when it comes to the areas where the hotels are situated in. That's tangible. There's a direct result. There's a direct results for residents around these hotels. I take it immediately. No second thought. And it didn't take me any conviction or any convincement within the, let's say, the Department of Economic Affairs and Culture to get that through and to get that money available to subsidize partly the buurthotel. So that's what I want to do, and that's what I think we are doing when it comes to
making
policy
that
making.
transition enabling. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. And now I guess it's a good moment to, I'll come to the questions in the floor, I guess, after the question,
please.
right, Laura's input. But the question is then, we already knew that then the municipality of Amsterdam is subsidizing, is supporting initiatives like the Buurthotel, that Laura is going to give us a bit more detailed info on that. But my question is then, how can these kind of community-led projects be supported? It can be either financially, being subsidized, of course, politically through different partnerships, just to ensure that all these tourism that we're talking about creates values for locals first.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for well giving the first words to me. No, well, we wouldn't be here without our partners. So I guess that's the when you're running a social initiatives, you really need a big network to fall back on. The municipality is one of them. We have other partners that are giving us subsidies, but also in kind. So I guess without the funds, we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. We could do it voluntarily, of course, but even building a website, it costs money. So of course, we have the quick wins, what you were talking about, and the direct results that you see. But I guess the most important or the most difficult thing for us is the long-term results. Of course, I told you a bit in the beginning why Buurthotel is existing. And it's not only that we want to directly give back to the locals when a tourist comes into a hotel and they will get a discount on a menu. We want really facilitate the connection from a hotel in the neighborhood with their neighbors. So that takes time. It's shifting the perspective, it's shifting the behavior of locals, of tourists, of employees of the hotel as well. So with time, of course, it costs money as well. So long-term financial sustainability, I guess that's most challenging part of what we're doing. But it helps us when, and then I come back to the start, it's a network. So we have a lot of partners that help us with marketing, JCDeco, Amsterdam and partners, that also want this initiative to work out. So without them, and we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, true. Just maybe like add something quickly. Like one of the advantages that going to the Buurthotel within your area is that based on the idea that a lot of houses or residential areas in Amsterdam are super tiny, and people might have their family members visiting them, and it's difficult maybe for a matter of 2 weeks or a month you cannot locate them at your own place, then Buurthotels are the places that let you to have your family members with a reduced price, right? So that's those kind of initiatives, that's how you put the locals first. So it's not just about like we have the hotel, we would just like give it out to the tourists. Okay, great. I have a list of questions. We can go on, I guess, for 10 hours back to back, but I would like to open the floor for your questions or comments or critiques or whatever you have. So please raise your hand. Me or my colleague will come to you with a mic, and we will not give away the mic. Please don't try to grab it. We will hold it for you. Any questions?
Yeah. This one? Yeah. You can hold. I'm not grab it. You just said it. I'm really interested in this initiative with the Buurthotel because I'm from Berlin, and there the marketing organization does it in the off season, that they have Discover Your Own City or like some special discount price. How is the motivation for the hotels? Do they do it all year long, or is it a seasonal thing? How does it work? How did you approach them? What's their motive? Is it chains or is it just individual small hotels? How does it? Yeah, how do you get them to actually get
Thank-
engaged?
Yeah, thanks. Actually, that is the easy part. Yeah. So we have 70 hotels in Amsterdam that immediately, when we came up with the idea and got the support from the municipality of Amsterdam, they immediately signed up. They really want to be there for their locals. Of course, they feel that they need to as well because of the 30,000 signatures that they got from there are too many tourists. And Amsterdam is building a really strong case on the policy that they're making and the hotels that need to give something back to their neighbors. But that's not really their motivation. They really want to have a better connection, but they just don't know how to do it because sometimes the employees are flying in from different countries and then they don't have a connection with their neighbors. So they actually need our help to get to know their neighbors, to get to know their needs, and also to think about activities that would help to make that connection.
Even when it's full season and they're fully booked and they're like overload of, they still offer.
Yeah, so it's a full year. And indeed, of course, for the overnight stays, I guess maybe for the rooms, that's the most important thing. That depends on the availability and on, so of course in January and February in Amsterdam, they can do a lot more. They can give bigger discounts, but it depends from hotel to hotel what they can offer. We have chains, we have family hotels, really small ones, bigger ones, 5 stars. It's all hotels are really participating in this.
Perfect. Thank you. Is there any more questions? We may have space for only one question. Yeah.
Yeah, a question for Thijs, maybe. You were talking about the immediate results that you saw with Buurt Hotel and kind of this being as an incentive to see it maybe as a business case. And I was wondering what sort of results would the municipality be looking for to support regenerative initiatives? Because I can see that some other sort of community based initiative can also have a very different sort of result, but can also be measured perhaps with different tools. So that's my question.
Yeah, and every initiative is measured differently, or can be measured differently, or is hard to measure. Valid question, and thank you. I like your question. I think what we're trying to do with the different policies and different measures that we're trying to make and that we initiate, is that we try to look at tourism as a force for good and as a force of driving change and achieving sustainability goals of the city, rather than looking at it as a force that damages, that breaks, that ruins. By doing that, we hope to create an idea of progression, an idea of creating, of making. And this allows and this opens doors for initiatives that are maybe harder to measure, but create much more of a friendly environment, or maybe even a regenerative environment, or a regenerative initiative. So we pave roads. That's I think is also the role of the municipality. We try to open doors and create opportunities. And maybe not every single one of them as easy to measure as the other one. And this is a systemic issue, I would argue. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's reality today. And at the same time, we don't know, just very bluntly, we don't know if the subsidies that were put in Buurt Hotel or Green Hotel Club or whichever project will actually see back. We don't know. So a lot of these things, and we do that with, for example, the subsidy committee in a different subsidy in Aanpak Binnenstad, which is the core city center. We don't know if the subsidies that we're giving out are actually coming back? We don't know. So there's actually a lot of these subsidies that are given only by the idea or the thought that this might be successful. And what successful is, not necessarily that clearly described before the start.
Thank you. I guess Rose wants to add something.
Yeah, I'm going to talk with Thijs, of course. No, but as a lab, being there for 10 years, and especially last 2-3 years working on regenerative design, we are working on this, on measuring impact.
Yep.
And that's, in fact, creating the right conditions. So we do know, we have more insight now. It's about building trust, it's about the local stories. And so this is really what I believe in 6 months we will see each other again.
Exactly.
That we are able to share more about this, because it's also a very important question for us, of course. And like Laura was saying about connecting, we are connecting with policymakers, entrepreneurs, social commercial, the residents, of course, from activists to artists. And so that's the whole core idea of the Living Lab, to connect. And as a university, we do have some advantages in that it's not like a huge distrust. What are you going to do? So, but what we know, one of the conditions, for instance, is what we get back from the community is that don't come here and create one-offs. We want to have continuity. And we want you to explain what are you going to bring here, you know, because there's a huge distrust and participation fatigue. So we're very aware of that and searching for these ways. And last thing that I wanted to say is that, Thijs, you said, yeah, we can't make big steps, but what can we do today? And that's exactly the goal in the tree. It's asking these kind of questions, and that's core in our lab. What can we do now? What are the biggest needs, and how can we make sure we're creating thriving places?
Sure. The smaller steps to take to see how to go through. And because you just mentioned the local stories, I guess this is a great moment to invite students to join us here and present the projects that they've been working on. Esther, can you give us a bit of info?
Hi, I'm the learning coach from the students, mostly here. They will present 3 stories. You also saw bits of it in the videos, of course, but they will explain the process of how we approached it and how we ended up with the results. So we have the night market or the evening fair, we rephrased it, and 2 projects on projections, wall projections, to showcase the stories. So, Esme and Bodine.
Yoo-hoo.
Hi, thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Bodine, this is Esme, and we will talk about our part of the project.
So, what was our challenge? Our challenge was, how do we create a market that attracts people, connects them, and makes them want to stay? We did this through research in Amsterdam Noord. We had some interviews with residents. We did volunteering work to really get to know the residents. And what we discovered is they don't really have a place where they can feel safe and really feel connected, and also with different nationalities come together.
All right, so our solution is to create an interactive market where people feel welcome and connected. To this market, we added a cozy corner, a warm, inviting space where people can sit, warm up, talk, and connect. We added heaters, seatings, games, and invited a local speaker to share stories and start a conversation. We made sure that everyone felt welcome by including all ages and including all cultures by hanging up flags from each country.
And another concept of the market was the wishing tree. We implemented a wishing tree from a local artist from Amsterdam Noord, and we worked together with local thrift shops. They gave us some gifts, and we put that under the tree. And we placed the tree in the middle of the market, and when people came, they had to write a wish for Amsterdam North for the future. And when they wrote that wish, they can hang it in a tree and they could get a gift from the tree. So it really started a conversation between people. Yeah, and we had some more information about what the people of Amsterdam really as a vision for Amsterdam North. And another concept of us was we invited some local entrepreneurs from food, because we really think that food connects. Yeah, and that also started a conversation. People took some food and they really sat down with each other, eat together, drink together, and you really saw that it really connected people. And how did we implement it, the regenerative part? We just don't just wanted to look at the sustainable part, but really actively do something for the place and for the people. And we want to, give more back than we take. So it was really all about the community and how did we do this for the night market? We really worked together with local stakeholders and with all the yes, and really refurbished products. So we didn't bought anything new. And our goal was really for the long-term well-being of the community. So this was a great start, this first market, but maybe, some more markets to come.
We need to go one slide back. There's no video. Oh, okay. So we wanted to show a video of what the evening looks like, but it's not working. So, okay, we will move on. Okay, so the result was clear. People stayed longer at the market. They talked to strangers. And the whole atmosphere of the Buikslotermeerplein changed. So that's exactly what regenerative placemaking looks like, using what already exists to bring people together and give something meaningful back to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I guess bringing the heater and the food, you nailed it. Everyone will be there. No one will leave it. Thank you. Can we have the next group who are going to present the A'dam Noord, if I'm pronouncing the project correctly?
Yeah, and so it's not a one-off. We're going to organize the second cultural evening market in May because we made a promise. We don't do one-offs, so we're going to continue. And people already ask, why do we have to wait so long? Yeah. So people said, why not every month? So that's really a good sign.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea. Yes, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you. So hello everyone, I'm Deblina and she's Linda, and we are one of the wall projection team, A'dam Noord. So our concept was to design something that makes Buikslotermeerplein more beautiful using co-creation and wall projections. So what we did to do that, we go out, we interviewed lots of locals, we also interviewed daily users of that area. We created several prototypes, we tested them with locals, we got more feedback, and then we knew what to do. And also, we also had this research with us so that our work can be more supported. So from all the research, we got to know that people in North want more nature. They want more greenery, they want more color, and they want that strong feeling of safety while being there. To some people, it's not very inviting, and it's very grey, to us as well. So, so what we wanted to do after that, we knew that we wanted to give North a feeling of nature, but how? So the challenge was now to create something, to translate nature into wall projections. So turning something physical into something digital.
Okay. So This is some feedback we got. So we got to the concept Natuurlijk Noord. And with this concept, we brought 3 elements. Which I would have loved to show you, but the video is not working. We projected a video with nature images to show how could the future look like in North if we add more nature. So it was like videos, photos of the area, and then you could see with AI how the area would change. Secondly, we also did a DIY projector activity where people could draw a drawing on a small projector. So when they shone a light through it, it would project their drawing. And finally, we did a guerrilla planting action with A'dam Noord. That's an activist group here in Noord who fights for nature. And we were handing out seeds with a little flyer on it. Some of you got it on your chairs as well. And people could take it home, or they could immediately plant it with A'dam Noord at Buikslotermeerplein. Our concept, we tested it actually on the 4th of December, and we instantly got positive reactions. People stopped to watch for it, actually wanted to participate, gave a lot of smiles, and we also tried to gather feedback on the evening, and that's how we got to this. We got quotes like, "This is a gorgeous concept, it has to return, you guys inspire me so much to actually look at the future and think about it," and there's so many stone, this is so important. So this really shows the importance of this concept and fighting for nature in North. And we're really happy to see that the locals actually agree with this. We are missing a slide, but the entire point behind the concept was that we really wanted to inspire the people of North for the how the nature could look like in the area, but we also wanted to make them proud of the area again and bring like a visualization of what they really wanted, because they wanted nature. And we just hope we gave them a nice vision for the future and inspired them to fight for it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, about 50 bulbs were planted.
Oh, nice.
And so we're going to watch it in spring when they come up, of course. Yeah.
I also hear that people got excited with what they've got. Maybe you can keep it after the program because of the noise.
Yeah,
but thank you so much for presenting. I guess it's time for the last presentation. If you would like to join us, it's going to be about light as a connection.
Hello everybody, I'm Danique.
Hey.
Maybe the presentation can start, let's see. Yes. So, I was part of a group called For You. Maybe we could go to the next slide so we can see everybody. My name is Danique, we have Luc, he said he can beer. And we also have Sol and Sofia, they are sitting there at the back, they're from Argentina. So a really mixed cultured group. And our idea was how can we use light and use color and use art of local artists to connect the people of North. So we began with an inspiration, with a prototype and a tryout. So we just had some carton boards and projected on it with the beamer. We first did a small one, and it already looked really nice. So we thought maybe we could do something that people could walk through it or walk by it. At the end, we had to change something. I'll come back to that later. But you can see the idea of us is that people, if they go to the square, they see that the art is there, the people are there, the people are there on the bench with everybody, the people there under the bowling alley to look at the nature. And for us was like the big background, so that everybody's like a nice warm feeling because of the art of local artists. We had someone from the Modestraat, we also had some Explore students from the local middle school, and we went also to the school, we have a lesson with them outside of our school hours, and with Renate, an amazing teacher, who helped us get more art from students who were 14, 15, 16. Everybody was allowed to join us, and we made, or the girls from Argentina made an amazing 22-minute loop that was constantly playing while we were there on the square. So it was really nice. Maybe go to the next one. Yes, so how did we come up with the idea? We went to one of my favorite places in Amsterdam for art, for Big Lumière. I'm a big fan of it as well. Art from Van Gogh, Picasso, everything is there. You walk through it and you can see everything. Sadly, Picasso and Van Gogh weren't available, but we found some amazing local artists who could help us out and project the amazing idea they had of Amsterdam Noord. So go to the next one. Yeah, so a change of plans. So we got feedback from teachers that told us focus on one thing. We also want to have an interactive thing with the word cloud and have the art next to it or something. Just focus on the one big thing, have an amazing art show on the wall of the bowling alley, and let's make it real. So go to the next one. So Luc had an amazing drawing down there how it should have looked, and I think we actually it fit pretty well. You can see it keep the setup as simple as possible. So this is of course the most simple thing that we had, but we made it a bit more difficult. So maybe go to the next one. Yes, so then a few days before we went with Jeroen, we went to the bowling alley and we tested it out. I just pressed some buttons and out of nowhere I found out how to make it a bit bigger than it is over here. But here you can see the small first step in giving the bowling alley some nice color. So then the next one, you can see the final product, I think right here as well. You can see the big text over there. We also asked people for some feedback to put on hearts if they like it or not, if they want to stay. The few hearts with no are for some students, they had to be there from the middle school. But the yeses are for all the people that really wanted to see something. My own mom also put a heart on, she really liked it as well. So yeah, we tried and make it as more of the connection with the people as possible. And I think the artist in Modestraat as well, he saw his own art being there on the wall and he just couldn't stop laughing. He even drank a beer as well. He was so happy with it. So yeah, we tried and do it in a real fun way to have connection with the people of Noord, with the students in the past few months. And the girls did an amazing job by making the loop really nice and keep it flowing, and some ads, some marketing for the school, of course, we had to. So yeah, we did that, and I think in total we had I think in total we had a really great loop at the video. And while we just pressed play, we could of course enjoy the market as well. So I had a fun evening. And I think the regenerative part about it is that people will come back for this. We have more artists coming up. The people from the school will get more people who will love to make stuff with digital marketing as well. And I think that in that way you can keep people connected. Alain Boudet indeed told me as well that this should be every month. And I think a lot of artists will have the chance, or could have a chance, to have this more often. So yeah, I think go to the next one. Yeah, thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you so much, super inspirational.
And we have, of course, a working video of the real impression with more local people in the hallway.
When you're walking out on the screen outside, you can see a video of all these activities being presented in a video format. I also just wanted to add that yesterday we had the opportunity with our ConnAct members to visit Amsterdam Noord, visit the Urban and Leisure Tourism Lab, have a tour. So now that I was hearing all the students' presentation, it was really resonating with all the things that we experienced. So maybe it's a call and shout out to the people in the room, especially that no one is a Northerner, to go and visit back Slotermeerplein or Modestraat or your new location. I see that unfortunately we don't have a lot of time. That's why I'm going to combine a very short 5 minutes of hearing reflections from our panelists to the presentation, and also if you have any questions and remarks that you would like to add to a student's presentation, if you have any questions, if you're curious to know more about hows and do's and everything. Maybe start with you, Anushka. If you would like to share something, otherwise I have some questions that... because I think,
first of all, what I want to share is that I find it so amazing, like, in my new role, also working with students, and it gives me so much faith that for them, it's not difficult at all to design positive impact. It's like, it's the first thing they do. They don't have to go through this whole journey of mass to sustainable, blah, blah, blah. It's like the first thing we design is a positive impact experience. How do we measure success? Happy people. Like, seriously, I think this is key to how to do everything. And yeah, I think for me, what is also the question that people ask me a lot is about the whole scalability, possibilities. How do you make it big? And I do realize, like, for the last months, I've been really trying to see, like, can this also work on a regional scale, on a metropolitan scale, on a city scale? But the things that the students are doing, the connections that you have with the local community, and that you make the products based on that, I think this is key. And then scalability for me is not like copying products, one size fits all, try to do it everywhere. It's the condition, but it's also, like you said, the night market should be every week. It's also like we have to make it more. I've been working on this map in the metropolitan region. It's already 100 initiatives. It could be thousands initiatives. But it could be local initiatives and more of them existing. So I am also really passionate to see how, and I like Buurthotel because I think marketing is something you can scale. I think mindset maybe is something that we can try to scale, because we can try to make everybody understand how you can work from care and love. And I think this is something that's very contagious because it makes you happy yourself. Like if I do a tour now in Amsterdam North and I see that the residents are all waving at me, and trust me, a couple of years ago they were throwing tomatoes when you did tours in the city center. So I think it's also for yourself as a person and as a professional to go home and to be like, oh, proud of your place, but also proud of the work that you do to contribute to it. No, so that's also why I feel that if people are asking like, oh, can we all change to regenerative tourism? I think at least we can all have the mindset, and we can try to integrate it into our businesses. And then how it works out, question, no? But at least try.
So you're suggesting we can scale it up without losing this positive impact at community level. So it's...
I would say not scaling up as such, but the conditions, and that's the regenerative impact. We get more and more insights about what's working or not. And these are things that we then can repeat and try to try out. But indeed, it's amazing because, thank you, students, they came in September. Now, what is it? Yeah, September. So it's only in a few months, really. And it's also amazing for the whole lab staff to see when we start and we say, hey, you can be a change maker, they're kind of laughing to us, like, yeah, right. But actually executing this cultural evening market, and for them, because I asked them, what do you think? How do you rate it from an 0 to a 10? And sometimes, well, a 6, 5, and then actually during the night, 8. One even said 10 out of 10, because it's making it real and having this impact as a student, as a junior professional. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Can I respond real quick?
Yeah, if you can keep it quick, sure.
No, because I want to compliment the students.
Nice.
I want to thank you very much for your contribution, and I feel privileged because this is now the second time I have these this set of presentations. I was lucky enough to join 2 years ago, 1 year ago, on a similar trajectory with the lab, and just like last year, this was equally great. And I think one of the things, I'm going to take a bit longer, one of the things that makes it so interesting and so well done is that it's grassrooted. And I think this is the fundament of when you want to talk about regeneration, it needs to be grassrooted. And only when you do it in such a way as you did with real life pilots, and real life testing and getting immediate feedback, immediately understanding what works, what doesn't work, what's interesting, what's not interesting, is how you can really develop into something regenerational. And from a policy perspective, and that's the last thing I'll say about it, maybe not, is in next year's program, we are creating our policies based around both a well-being assessment, a general well-being assessment, which in Dutch is called brede welvaart, on top of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And what this does is it creates not only the ecological concept, but it allows the human concept in it as well. And I think what you show in the lab in Noord is that this is exactly what you do. You combine both the sort of the international systemic design of the SDGs, but you combine it with what does it do to humans? What does it do to communities? What does it do to the areas people do shopping every day and they walk, etc. And for exactly this reason, we are now framing our policies in that combined in the combination of those two concepts, so that we can actually test them, if you like, on whether we achieved any results on social connections.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I would like to mention the Menti code one more time because we don't have a lot of time, only 6 minutes left. We can say a bit longer, but if anyone online would like to post their questions or remarks or comments, you can go to menti.com and insert the code 18127049. Meanwhile, we can have one question from the room if anyone wants to add anything. And after that, I will just have a quick wrap up of our conversation tonight.
Yeah, this is kind of a loaded question, but I'm really curious because I've studied tourism back in the US. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. It's a big tourism destination. But having lived here and I studied urban planning here, I'm curious how you think about housing affordability, how to promote tourism while also paying attention to the affordability for residents that live in these such wonderful cities.
Difficult one. I hope that it doesn't open up another 2 hours of course discussion, but who wants to respond?
Well, I would, when we look back to the pictures of the trees and the interconnectedness and the interdependence, is that we have been talking a lot about tourism, but when we zoom out, we see that it's also connected with infrastructure or energy or indeed the housing sector. So that's an ongoing conversation we as a knowledge institute are having with Thijs and his colleague Jelmer about, hey, maybe we could try and seek for a more systemic approach and see how these all interlinks. So it has a relationship, but it's not like causal. And I think that's something that we shouldn't forget either. But Thijs, I think I saw you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think one of the connections between tourism and housing and livability when it comes to rent is short-term rentals. And I think short-term rental is really an element, and there was just an article in the newspaper yesterday and there was a response today, and so that goes back and forth. Ultimately, Amsterdam has one of the strictest regulations on short-term rental. And there's no ban, we don't forbid, we try to work with these movements that are that come from a system, an economic system that allows these initiatives to grow and to come and to grow even further, and to some extent. And then when that extent is, that's hard to, when when you get there. And then when we get there, we say, okay, this is what we can do, this is what we cannot do, this is how far we can get into these markets, because ultimately they're free markets. So there is rules and regulations or boundaries and limits what you can and cannot do when it comes to interfering in a free market. So these are actual techniques and tools that we have as a city to regulate strictly on short-term rentals, which has a direct impact on rents, livability, and basically the inventory of housing in a city. Not that that's nearly enough in relation to what's actually needed, but just to make the combination between tourism and housing.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm afraid we may not have time for more questions, but as you may know, or maybe it's your first time here at Pakhuis, after we close the program, you're more than welcome to stay, to have talk with the panelists, with other people in the room. So it doesn't mean that your questions are going unanswered. A very final, short, I wouldn't say question, if you would like to share anything, if you would mention a takeaway from the evening, or I would form it as what do we need to move forward? Because we will have another edition of this whole program in summer, which I'm going to explain a little bit during my closing. But I would like, for the last time, give the floor to you all, if you would like to share anything. You want to go first?
Yeah, I can share something because I'm hearing a lot of great things in the audience as well and here. So I would like to connect. So this is the last thing I want to say. I'm saying here tonight. So please connect with the great ideas from the students. We want to repeat all the things that you have been doing and maybe help out as well. I see a lot of locals here as well. So it's great to hear your voices, to hear the voices of the municipality, to hear the voices of the tourists as well, but also the hotels. So we're trying to connect different voices and then keep on continuing. So yeah.
Thanks. Thijs? Any last word? or maybe just
I have no real thoughts other than thank you again for being here, allowing us to present a bit on what we do. And I think really what you see here is a representation of what we want to do, where we want to go, what we want to achieve. And that's not overnight, and it takes a lot, and it takes a lot of effort, but we'll get there. And I'm sure that at some point, whenever that point is, we will get to a regenerative tourism, for sure.
True. Thank you, Anushka.
So happy with this last comment. No, and I just want to say, like, I'm also very excited, and I realized that from a new role of being part of In Holland, like I've been for years in pioneer networks, and I think this creates where a lot of creative ideas, the innovation, but at one point, if you really want to make a transition, you also need to be able to, tag along with the governments, but also with a lot of more, the bigger commercial partners. And I think that what we are building on right now, the ideas that we are building on, and hopefully we're going to also give some of them in the festival, I think in June, and then also try to invite people, because there's a lot of organizations in Amsterdam that are in search, that actually want to really have a better impact on the city, but just don't exactly know how. So I really want to bring these worlds together where all the ideas are, but also where the people are that actually can make a massive impact, no? So how can we make, kruisbestuiving, I wouldn't know how to say that.
Cross-pollination, like how nature does it.
Great.
Yeah. I would indeed like what can we do tomorrow? And for us, we are aware that we are working on a hyper-local, place-based situation, but it's really about experimenting and sharing those insights. And we are indeed looking forward to do so more in June. And Laura, I think we are going to call too, because I don't know how many buurthotels in Noord are already part of your list. There's one coming just in front of our new lab.
Oh, nice.
So that might be a nice case for us to collaborate.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you. I would really like to go through a bit of like a summary of what we discussed, but I know that, again, because the program is going to be recorded and live streaming, we're very strict with the timing. But of course, I'm glad that at least we could land on a shared understanding of regenerative tourism and hearing some small-scale initiatives that are happening in an example like Amsterdam Noord. As just mentioned, this is not the end to the project of ConnAct. This was the first event. The second one, it's going to happen in July, actually, instead of June. But if you were interested, if you would like to know more, you can already reserve it in your agenda, because the first week of July is going to happen, and it's going to be in a festival format. So it's going to be a bit bigger, and then, but for sure you can stay in touch with us through Pakkas de Zwijger channel. You can always enroll for a newsletter, and you will be updated. One thing that I have to mention is at the beginning of the program, I kindly ask you to put your names and some more information as an attendee of this event, because based on EU regulations, the project is a co-funded EU project. We have to make that list, which also brings to my next point. Can we have the QR code? It's a simple questionnaire that I would like to ask everyone. I don't see any phones being up. Yeah, I would like to ask you all, everyone in the room, please, we made it super quick and super short. It's not gonna take more than 2 minutes of your time, but it at least gives us some idea. How did you experience the event? And we can make a better version in July. And of course, we can make a reporting for our EU Commission, so to say. And please make sure to follow us on LinkedIn, on different social media platforms or Instagram. And you can always check dezwijger.nl, dezwijger.nl, and you can see all different programs that are happening every evening. One more time, I would like to thank all our partners, ConnAct partners, who made it from Prague, from Piraeus, from Bergamo, and from Berlin, of course. You were looking at me. Thank you so much, and we'd love to have more conversation in the bar, so we can continue our conversation. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for everyone who watched us online. The program will be recorded. Have a nice evening.